Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great so not rule well. Salutation to the Aki, I'm preaching the truth, to the four quarters of the earth in sincerity. This is what Yakal coming to you with another lesson. Lord's will be edifying to the spirit. Right, and I was going on into a lesson here, going into unto him that overcometh. Because we know overcoming is basically for passing a test basically after a period of time of endurance. Right, so this is what the Lord put us here for. The Lord put us here to go through the test and be tried, and also to overcome, because we know the elect will overcome, right? The elect would overcome and would succeed. Now we striving to be part of the elect, so we initially must overcome, and that's the mindset we should have, right? Without further ado, I'll go straight into it. Revelation 3 and 5, it says, "He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, which is the righteousness. And I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels." So Yahweh shall be that mediator, that advocate, as the scriptures say, in the heavens for us with Yahweh, right? If we overcome, we're gonna get the victory. And I've other precepts saying that. Let me get it here. Alright, let me get it one time. There's the book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 13. Straight to the point. Let's see. Right. And he shall be, let's not wait. I'll read from 12. Now the brother shall betray the brother to death. Right? Because we know this is what we're going to face. It happened in Yahushua's time with Judas. And it's going to happen in our time. Brothers going to betray brothers, right? Even unto death. They might even put you to death, or they might put you up to get deleted. Right? It says, "And the father, the son, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake." Right, punchline here. "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." Right? To the end. It always go back to enduring to the end, and go back to where the scripture say, for when he is tried, right, he shall receive a crown of life. Because that's what we deal with, the overcoming, the enduring. We deal with everything in a mix. Right? Overcoming. Let me get the meaning of overcome one time. Bear with my Bible question. Right? I have it queued up here in the English, the Advanced English Dictionary, where it says the word overcome, to win a victory over. Right? And that's we winning the victory over death, winning the victory over Esau, regaining, the Lord regaining back his, how to say it, his glory, right? Because he always had the glory, but the Lord is going to come in, Yahushua coming in with his glory, and is going to shine on them, and forever so. You understand? They're going to realize we won forever while they go doing their slavery. Right? There's some examples, but then there's right there, here where it says overcome, to beat out, to come through, to conquer. I like that meaning. To crush, demolish. You understand? So we overcome Esau by what? Crushing them, demolishing them, to destroy, to overcome. Many different meanings. And it have examples. You must overcome all difficulties, defeat your enemies. And I accept this one, because the difficulties what we have is in the flesh. Things where we had to work on in body, and things where we had to work on ourselves, so that we could overcome this flesh. You understand? And when we overcome this flesh, only then we can tell ourselves that we overcome and we're gonna make it. Because Overcoming this flesh is that serious thing where, you know, the scripture say temperance. That is one thing. But it also mention when the apostle Paul said he put his body under subjection. Right? Same thing, same thing. But that is strive for mastery. Right? Because striving for mastery is not just, yeah, I have a skill and the Lord give me the Rakakodash, I could read some precepts. I don't even need it. Striving for mastery is becoming a master at your craft. Never stopping, always going. You understand? No matter how rough it gets, we're going to overcome, we're going to conquer, we're going to beat, we're going to pull through. Right? We're going to defeat our enemies. Right? That is what it's saying. Alright, so let me get what precept is that way? Alright, let me get. Alright, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 21 and verse 5. I read straight to the point. I read from 7. It says, he that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. What that all things entails, that entails the promises, the kingdom. You understand? It entails the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in your inward part. The scripture said that in the new covenant, the Lord's going to write it in your inward parts, in your brain, and coming with them new bodies, because you see, this body is sin. You understand? You can't inherit the kingdom of heaven. You can't go certain, you know, you can't go in chariots. You can't travel out of space with these bodies. These bodies frail and weak and wicked. Right? So to be able to have the Lord stored in our inward parts, we had to change these bodies. The scripture said that the heart of this body is desperately wicked, which is the mind. You understand? So overcoming is what we're trying to do. Overcoming. That's what we try to do. We try to beat all the small hurdles. So when the big hurdle comes, it's like nothing. You understand? It will be like an easy test that the Lord just placed for us. Alright, we got our next precept here. Alright, the book of Mark, chapter 11 and verse 30. And it reads, the baptism of John, Mark 11 and 30. Yes, no, it's not Mark 11 and 30. I believe it's probably Matthew 11 and 30. Going back to the burdens, going back to the overcoming. It says, I'll read from 27. It says, all things are delivered unto me of my Father, which is Yahushai. He deliver everything from me, comes from Yahweh. It's come unto him. Right? It says that no man knoweth the Son but the Father, neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son. Right? It says, and he to whosoever the Son will reveal him. Right? Continuing, it says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Rest for your mind, rest for your spirit. You've been always searching for this. You always wanted answers. The Lord has given it to us. All that heavy laden and that labor. You understand? That's what we're doing when we're making these videos. We laboring. Right? We overcoming some part of the flesh because we're doing the work. And the work is going out. Right? Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. That is it. Continuing, it said, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So to endure those stuff is easy and burden is light. The reason being is, the scripture also mentioned, ye have not yet resisted. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood. Meaning that none of us had to die, go up on our cross, anything for this thing as yet. You understand? That was only Yahushai. Right? So we had to overcome that and all, the fear of being put to death. Right? Because nobody really want to just be put to death. You understand? It's as your flesh against it. Your flesh stays. Just like Yahushai, when he was about to be crucified, he said, Lord, if you can take this cup from me, take it. Baruch Yeshua, because it is real. But then after he said, let thy will be done. When you do your recollective thoughts and you realize, yeah, this is a problem, let thy will be done. Right? So understanding the overcoming, the will of the Lord gonna be done anyhow. The Lord gonna send plague, send pestilence, send everything. You understand? And it's for we to have to go through it and overcome it. As the scripture say, gold is tried. Right, let me get that real quick. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 2 and verse 5. It says, for gold is tried in the fire and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So this is what we're going to go through it. The Lord will send plagues, pestilence, famine, everything. But the man of the Lord going to stand strong. The scripture say a man going to be like a hiding place from the wind, which is the destructions. Right? So what we studying is, and focusing is on our walk. And when our test come, pray to Yahweh, I'm sure they could evade that test. Right? You gotta pray that you could evade that test and that you could pass it with flying colors and don't get entangled in. The scripture says, no man that warreth entangled himself with the affairs of this life. Right? Firstly, because if you're entangled with the affairs of this life, you're gonna be weak in the spirit. Because the affairs of this life is bullshit and only more bullshit. Right, let me get something here. Right, let me get it real quick. Philippians 1 and 4, let me see. This is 1 as well, Philippians 1 and 4. I'll read from 3. It says, I thank my power upon every remembrance of you, O Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. It says, always in every prayer of mine for you all making requests with joy. So the precept that I was actually talking about is, right, Ephesians 6. We talk about principalities and powers. Alright, let me get that real quick. Alright, there's the book of Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 18. I read, praying always with all prayer. Well, let's go back up to verse 10. Right? I will just read from verse 10 because it also highlights the enduring and the overcoming, right? It says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of power that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Endure it, right? For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Lord, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. This is it. So that in the days to come, you will be able to stand against whatever is coming your way, whatever is put on your plate, whatever the Lord have in store for you. You understand? You will be able to stand because you done all to stand. Verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness. Alright. Yeah, so I always go back to the key thing, which is praying always, because I believe that is Hebrew, by Hebrews, I'm going Hebrews. I can't find the precept all the way what I'm looking for. Book of Hebrews. Right, it's Luke 21 and 36. And it reads, I'll read from 34. It has some essence again on keys how to overcome. Right? Luke 21, 34. And take heed to yourselves. Big line. Because you're dealing up with self-examination. What the scripture say, examine yourself to see whether you're being faith. Well, in this faith, there's things that a man and the Lord needs to do. Where it says, make full proof of your ministry. There's things that a man and the Lord had to do. And also for the women them that believe, there's things that you also had to do. Right? So it says, and take heed to yourselves, which is a self-examination, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting, which is too much. Surfeiting is one thing, too much. Right? And it says, and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unaware. That is it. But the scripture says, ye, my sons, are not in darkness, that day should come unto you basically as a surprise. You expect. Right? Verse 35, it says, for as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. It's gonna be a snare. The mark of the beast is gonna be a snare. All of them not paying attention to what we're preaching right now. So when judgments are happen, you know, the greatest I told you so ever. Verse 36, it says, watch ye therefore and pray always. This is something what we have to do. Pray always and fast. Because one of the disciples that this could only come through much praying and fasting. Right? So I'm going to continue. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape. Right? You want to be accounted worthy. You want to be one of them soldiers where the Lord say, yes, that is my soldier. He worthy to be saved out of this famine coming here. He worthy to eat. He worthy to not get killed when I send them troops here. You understand? It's all about being worthy. Read it over. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. That is it. To escape everything that coming, and then to stand up. When you see Yahushua, where it says all things tremble at the sight of him, you know, everything get frightened when Yahushua reach. But the men of the Lord was glad, where it mentioned in Sirach 36, where it says it manifests their boldness. No, that was Wisdom of Solomon 12, Salakia. Wisdom of Solomon 12 and about 17. Right? It's 17 or 12. It highlighted that you have to be bold and be believing in the Lord, because when the Lord comes, the men of the Lord gonna be happy. But everybody else is gonna be sad, because they didn't follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth, as the scripture say. Right? Then forget the Lamb at all. Constantly enduring the scripture say. You see? Where it says without wavering. Right? Straight to the point. It's book of Hebrews, chapter 10 and verse 23. And read, let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promise. And that pretty much sums it up. Right? Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, is faithful that promise. He promised that we will receive. He promised that we will eat in famine. That our kids will be good. That we will get immortal bodies. All these stuff. You understand? So it's not like we just going about it carelessly. We praying, we fasting, right? And we doing taking the necessary steps. You understand? Hold fast of your profession, the thing that you've been taught. The scripture says, give the more earnest heed to the things that you know now. More seriously, you have to take this. Right? Yeah, be more serious about it. Right? So Lord willing, this lesson that I find through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kakodash, double honor to the elders and apostles of great men, so not will well. Salutation to the Aki and preaching the truth to the four corners of the earth in sincerity. Shalom.